Welcome to the Free Range Families Podcast, where we, Britt
and Christina, show you the beauty of homeschooling through a lens of faith
and freedom,
and always a bit of humor.
All right. This is a fun episode.
This is a fun episode.
We put lipstick on.
We did.
And we have a friend.
We have a friend. So this is a little bit different of an episode. We thought we would share a little bit of our personal stories with homeschooling.
And also because we're doing a homeschooling podcast, so there will be a lot of
there'll be some controversial
comments, and that's
things.
cool.
Yeah.
Bring the controversy. Just don't let me see it.
Yeah,
Because
you
then
don't
I'll have to hug the chicken.
I like to fight.
And yeah, I want to hug the chicken.
So I am dubbing this our Whiskey Tango Foxtrot episode.
Yes.
Because sometimes people say things when they find out you're homeschooling and you just have to respond, what the, what the.
No.
And so Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, love this.
Yes.
So that's going to be my.
Well, this
That's
is
the
my
theme.
woosah shirt because when I see the comments,
Mhm.
I'm like, just breathe and get some tea and stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, again, the jersey comes out and I'm like, let's do this.
Yeah. No. And I'm like, I'm just going to go
Right.
write about it.
So sometimes people like to, you know what they say, why we don't assume? Because when you assume, you make a blank out of
you and me.
Yeah. So,
It's also called a keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
And they hide behind the screen.
oh, they do. So
I'm talking to all of you that are going to do this right now.
So I think it was about a year ago now. Last summer, we went on a spontaneous road trip with friends. And I posted on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, all that. But it was really Instagram that got the keyboard warriors out. So I posted, and all I said, a little clip of my kids walking in the Grand Tetons. Okay, we're on an adventure.
Which is like crazy cool.
right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so I posted that with a little quote that said, "Society says children need to be in school to socialize and learn. ... We say otherwise."
Mhm.
That's it. That's literally all I posted. Well,
It's totally true though.
so
I mean, like, I don't know how you could have any kind of bad things to say about that.
So like on that trip, we went with friends of ours who they don't have kids, but they're in their like late 20s, early 30s. My kids got along great with them. We were able to have conversations. We all traveled together. Every
Yeah.
place we stopped, they were able to talk to people. I remember Max started this conversation in Jackson Hole with some like 70-year-old guy, and they were just talking about like, I think bison and elk, and he was like talking to him about how much he likes elk burgers. And like,
yeah.
but and I remember the guy being like, "Wow, your kid can just pick up a conversation with anybody." I'm like, "Yeah, homeschooled." So anyway, it was hilarious because I posted that, and I didn't think it was really that controversial.
It's super
But-
controversial. Let's hear it
So-
because I might not be able to hear it.
So some of the
Again.
comments, and these are good. Now, I did have a slew of really great comments, but most of that was like friends coming to just fight on my behalf,
Yes.
which I was like, dude, you don't have to. I have extremely thick skin and I don't care what people think or say.
No, I don't
So-
either.
But my favorite
Mhm.
was one guy wrote "Future Unabombers."
I don't even
So
have a
apparently
reply.
by me homeschooling my kids and simply saying that they can socialize and learn outside of four walls of a classroom, that means my kids are going to be Unabombers.
But see, that's totally
Yeah.
illogical. Like it is
Oh.
unreal. I don't even have words for that.
No. So then I had people, my favorite, he went on to tell me that was textbook Trump. Now, nowhere on my social media have I ever posted what my political affiliation is.
Well, that
you could kind of
didn't
probably
have it on there.
No,
which
it didn't have it on
crazy.
there. And nowhere else have I ever, I don't think I've ever even posted anything about Trump.
So, but here's the thing.
is
I'm
hilarious.
gonna go on a little tangent
Yeah.
here before you go on to the thing. Why is that such an issue when you speak your mind and you say something that, maybe somebody doesn't like it, but that's what we're talking about. It's like a cancel culture where they can just be like, hey, what is it called? What's the word when you have like Trump
derangement syndrome,
yeah.
TDS. Yeah.
Like you have homeschooling derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
So that you can't hear
You can't
what
hear
other
an alternate.
perspectives are.
Right.
Yeah.
So then he goes on to ask, before you turn on reruns of the Flintstones to teach your kiddos ancient history, do you make them wear his shirts and bow down to a pic of Trump? I was like, oh, wow. So now we're projecting. It's hilarious. Then, we've got, then somebody just immediately started asking me if I teach my kids evolution or creationism. And I was like, so nowhere in here do I actually talk about what science I teach. And I have degrees in science, so none of your business.
That is unreal. You know what the reply should have been? Both of them, because I'm making well-rounded children. Or you go to public school and you teach humanism in one way. And don't you understand that?
We had problematic beliefs incoming. That was one. Let's see.
Downloading information.
Like, apparently,
like,
problematic beliefs incoming. I love that one because my little baby cousin, who is he's not a baby cousin, he's like 30 years old now, but he's still my baby cousin. Okay. He like went off on the guy. I was like, yeah,
great,
thanks, appreciate you. But then we had one of them. So the guy deleted his post, but one of them was so awful. And the funny thing is, all of these comments came from like 20-something-year-old males that didn't have children. Interesting, right?
Interesting.
So one of them was so bad. The grammar was so awful that I actually used it as a grammar lesson for Max. I made him like read. And Max was reading. He goes, I can't even decipher this. What is he even saying? I was like, well, here's the problem. You guys can't even type a response that's
grammatically correct. But it's because you're using like all of the slang, computer, whatever it is.
So it was that. And then I did have one gentleman who started off very argumentative and
I get those on my Substack too.
So what I did was I responded to each comment in a polite, but well, like some of them, maybe I was a little less polite. Like the Unabomber guy was like, wow, you're a vile human being.
That is a hugging the chicken thing.
That's a hug the chicken. Unabomber. Ooh. And now sa. Let it out. Yes.
Unabomber, that is your, that's what we think about your comment.
Still going.
I know.
I am impressed. Yes. All right. So that is perfect for the Unabomber. But then I had one that I actually had a back and forth with.
Yeah.
And we came to an understanding that he came from a history of public teachers, parents, teachers, grandparents, teachers.
Totally about where you.
So when we actually finished off, and I want to read his final comment because I think it's really important that even we talk about the negatives of social media. And yeah, sure, I got some interesting things on there. But then every once in a while, I feel like you do get across to someone. And
that's what we hope.
That's what we hope.
It's a salt and the light argument.
And finally, after like 11 comments back and forth, this guy came out and said, good luck to you and your family. It's pretty clear in this that you love your kids very much and want the best for them. And this goes further than anything.
It's
so
good.
Like he realized
he was able to work.
He was able to work through it.
Yeah.
And say like, and I think from his perspective, he was like that. And I think where he came from was this preconceived notion that homeschoolers are not as educated, that there's always just the religious side of it. No, we're Catholic, you know, that's why I drink and sometimes drop F-bombs. Sorry.
I'm Jewish and Christian, Judeo-Christian. We can have a fun party.
We do.
That's what
our best friends are Jewish. And when you get Jewish and Catholic together, it is awesome. We party. But.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, what it is like, so we teach, like we talk about, we have a separate Bible class, we talk about our religion, but the way we run it is we are very separate in how we do things. We talk about like it in the grand scheme of things and how it relates to us and in our morality and all of that.
Yep.
But we are pretty separate in how we teach.
Yep.
But it was amazing just to see the comments of like just these preconceived notions that my kids are going to be stupid. My kids are going to be.
I love this. I love all of this because this puts it also displays to everybody that's, watching the podcast that be prepared for this.
Yeah.
Okay. But you have to stand steadfast in your convictions
Mhm.
because it doesn't matter.
No, these people don't
Yeah.
matter in the grand scheme of things.
No, they don't. And how you teach your own kids at your house is your business.
Right.
You know, I teach from a biblical worldview. So we're, you know, Judeo-Christian and that kind of thing. And I can't stand social media. That's why she's in charge.
That's
of
why I'm in
that.
charge.
Yes.
But I mean, I have friends who are secular homeschoolers.
Mhm.
They don't teach any religion at all
Nope.
in their homeschooling. There are, and the funny thing is,
But
is
aren't we entitled as free people to have the freedom to
Yeah.
teach what we think is appropriate to our children? I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
coming on the other side of this, but I do have a very strong mindset of the fact that we are lacking spirituality in education. Like, I think it is a cornerstone of our whole entire, you know, the United States of America and everything that we stand for, and it should be part of education. But if you're going to homeschool because you're breaking away from those as a free society, that's why we ran away from. You should be able to teach your children what you think is appropriate.
right. And
I
as your
mean-
child's teacher, you are in charge of the curriculum.
Yes.
You are in charge of what is.
Even though I
being-
don't totally agree with like not teaching your children. And that's a whole nother
Oh, that's a whole other
part
thing.
of homeschooling.
But we are.
But what I'm saying is
teachers.
that I have my own convictions and I'm steadfast in my convictions of how I think I want to run my household and my family. And I'm not going to tell Joe
Right.
Schmo how they should do it.
Right.
Or that they're going to become a Unabomber because they're
Because
that is
because you're
insane to me.
because your kids went on a huge road trip 2-week adventure. I think we visited 11 national parks, and
it sounds
each
like
stop
what we're doing
like
this year. I'm
it-
excited.
you know, it's amazing though that tiny little thing opened a huge can of worms. And-
Education is a hot topic.
But you know what?
It's-
It was also something that I used to teach the kids about social media. Like, my kids don't have social media. They will
Mhm.
not have social media until they are adults and they can make that decision. And honestly, they don't want them. Like, my
Yeah.
teenager is like, no interest in that. And I think it's also
yeah.
a boy thing. Like, they're not as
Yeah, I
interested,
don't know, Christina.
but-
We're living in a world where kids are getting all of their information, all their values, everything is coming from social media in such a rapid pace that unless parents do a really good job of filtering it, monitoring it,
Right.
etc.
But that's what we use that. Like,
yeah.
I sat down and I let them see the comments. We talked about the
Yep.
comments, and I remember my kids being like, how do you deal with this? How are you not getting so
So
angry?
Ryan, my oldest, would probably fuming.
Oh gosh, he would have
Like,
been like throwing the
you know-
phone.
yeah.
Sure. But I said because I have gotten to that point where, again, remember a couple of episodes back, we talked about my favorite book, Screw Tape Letters.
Yes.
And how that,
You didn't ask me what my favorite book was.
oh my gosh,
It's
what's your
okay.
favorite book?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet? You have to think about it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll ask you in the next episode what your favorite book is,
I'm
and I
just
expect an
razzing
answer.
I'll think about it. Actually,
Um,
I know now.
Okay.
This would be weird for you though, if I tell you what my favorite book is, and then you just have to.
Is it
figure
like If You Give a Moose a Muffin?
no, no? However, I like that book a lot. I read that a lot. It's actually Frankenstein,
I love that.
and it's because it's the whole playing God thing. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just found it. I remember reading it when I was younger and being like, "What is happening in this book?" So many things to
Yeah.
unpack.
So this is what we
Fahrenheit
do. We go off on
451 too.
tangents. Okay. I'm just
Sorry,
sorry. Tangents.
it's my fault.
We love tangents.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
We were talking about, so I use this as a social media lesson.
Yeah,
And I was saying, like, my kids were saying, how are you not getting so.
yeah,
I'm trying really hard not to like
because you
use
have
words.
a chicken named Fred to hug.
Bad words.
Mm-mm.
So I said it's that idea of like in the Screw Tape Letters, when you've got I don't know if you know the premise of Screw Tape Letters,
Yep.
is that it's letters back and forth between a junior devil and the senior devil, uncle. All right. So Uncle Wormwood is the senior devil giving the junior devil like advice and
Yeah.
everything and how to corrupt.
Yeah.
And it's all these little subtle things to get under people's skin and to make them question themselves and question what they're doing. And so it's like, I always have that in the back of my mind. So when this happened, I actually thought it was hilarious because like in my mind, all I'm thinking of was like, good try, buddy.
Yeah,
Good try, devil.
I don't.
Get the dip. I
It's just
have like
manipulation.
Adam Sandler's mom in like Waterboy. It's the devil.
Devil. Wait, I said this the other day to somebody. I think we were at archery or something. I don't know. I did that whole thing.
And the devil.
Yes.
So that's what I have in my mind. It's like, to me, it's funny because it's like, Yeah, you're not going to shake my convictions
No.
because I know what I'm doing is appropriate, is right for my kids. I almost said my students because like I have that teacher. Like when I get
You are
into
their disciples.
yeah, so when I get into like the education mode, like they are my students, not just my kids. Like so,
Discipulus.
yeah. So it's a good lesson for them, but it was also like just a good lesson in general of homeschooling because I had a lot of my
And
friends
another
reach
reason
out
why I won't do that.
and people reach out saying like, see, this is why I'm scared to do it. I'm scared to share. And
no, it's this whole. So I had I can't remember if it was Israel Wayne. Somebody I interviewed said that deaf ears. And I'll have to go back to my notes. They don't want to hear, right? So sometimes when you're having a conversation about something you believe in, it's the back and forth is not necessary. At least this is where I come from. It's a one-way road, and they have to absorb it. If they don't like it, then they can move on. But when you hide behind a keyboard and you're punching in little things, I don't even.
You have to ignore the keyboard warriors. Like it's this mindset of if I don't like what I hear from you, I have the right to yell at you and argue and tell you you're wrong. It's like, no, you don't. You can disagree with me. Guess what? You can swipe and move on. And I feel like we need to do that more. And as a homeschooler, you have to have that mindset of like, yeah, people are not going to like what I'm doing. And I don't care.
Yeah.
I truly don't care because
be
this
like,
is good
hey,
for my
why
kids.
don't you like what I'm doing? Let's have a conversation about it. We have completely lost the ability in so many ways. I mean, I could count on my hand, you being one of them, the amount of people that I can actually have a conversation about. Maybe we disagree wholeheartedly on something, but we're not going to rip each other's throat out or push the cancel button and then never speak to each other again. But it happens all the time. We have come to this point where, and it is a part of social media where it's just like a cancel. Okay, you're banned. Yeah. We hate you. Go away. Yeah. You know, like I don't want to hear that perspective.
I don't like
anymore.
one thing, and then I'm going to decide that all these other things that I disagree with, you represent that. It's like, you don't know me. You don't know anything about me. No. Oh, it was funny because like, you know what was more, the funniest thing is that the post on my social media I posted a picture of, I call her Juliet. She's my little, my cat. I like 2A. 2A is one of my favorite amendments. But I was just like, I posted a picture and talking about concealed carry as a woman and all the stuff. That
I bet that was
got zero, absolutely no comments.
They're afraid of you.
Probably, I think so. I think they're like, wait, she's from Jersey and she's got like,
no comments.
It's got like sugar skulls on it. She's so pretty. But like I posted that and that got zero negative comments.
That's crazy.
And yet the one about my kids homeschooling was just like,
I know there is such a stigma about it. That's why I'm so glad we're doing this, because we are going to smash all of that.
Right.
Yes.
So it is important to, when you come into homeschooling, I think you just have to have that idea and the mindset that, what am I doing this for?
No, you have to.
I am not doing this for family who questions, and I think for us, maybe we had it a little easier because we do have that education background. So sometimes people will say to me like, oh, you were a teacher. Oh, you're okay. I'm like, that has nothing to do.
And I see that.
You know, it's this idea of, well, you're okay.
I think they look to us for
you were an
advice.
educated teacher.
Yeah.
But anybody can homeschool, and there are so many resources. And we're going to go into episodes about all of this.
No,
too.
and actually I think there is, I mean, that's part of the reason parents reach out to us is because they're trying to figure out how do I manage all of this, and because you are taught. So I'm not going to completely say that it was a waste, because it wasn't a waste. You do learn certain things about how to teach, but there's places like Public School Exit where they're actually teaching teachers or parents how to do it, you know, instead of just jumping in.
Right.
Yeah. And I was going to say something else and I can't remember. Oh, the background thing. Who knows what you're like? I was homeschooled in 3rd grade for a period of time, and I did not like it. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if it was the way that my mom was teaching me or like what happened. I just remember it was a big transitional period too. We were like moving and stuff. But then I was homeschooled again when we lived in Italy. And because we had to be, right? Yeah. But people don't know your background unless you're like publicizing it, you know, all. It's so ignorant and small-minded.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. And it's funny because like my kids have had conversations with people and they have absolutely no clue. And I've had people say to me like, wow, your kids are so knowledgeable. They're so well-mannered. They're so intelligent. And, they're like, oh, where do they go to school? I'm like, homeschooled. And you just see the face just, what?
Yeah, I
Like,
know. It's
how?
crazy.
I'm like, because you have a stigma against homeschooling that is completely unfounded.
Listen, I teach at a dance studio, like a local dance studio, and I sit in the lobby, and I love all you moms. Hi. Okay. But I sit in the lobby with all of the moms, and they're all friends, and they run PTA. They're very involved in it. I mean, they're old people that I used to know from the school district, and I listen to the talk, and I know in the back of their minds, they're probably like, why did she leave? Like, what is happening? What are you doing? But there is a huge, huge stigma about homeschooling still to this day. So, yeah, on that note, I was like, am I running out of time or am I carrying on a tangent? We don't have a cool quote for this.
Past the freckle.
I don't think I have a cool quote for this one.
I don't know. Do you have a cool quote for this? I think my quote should just be whiskey, Tango, Foxtrot. When dealing with trolls and people who are constantly
I got one.
Oh, she's got a real quote, not mine.
I've got one. Don't question your ability to teach your child. Question putting your child in a system that left you feeling incapable of teaching your child.
Bingo.
That's a good one.
That
right?
is such a good one.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think you should absolutely be saying to parents and to other people when they are like, oh, I can't. How could I don't know how to homeschool. I wouldn't be able to do that.
I hear that so many
Why?
times. Or I don't want to.
Oh, I could never spend so much time with my kids. That's the big one. How do you spend all day with your kids?
Yeah.
Well, first off,
I hope we get a ton of comments from this podcast.
Oh, we're so gonna
I'm not going to reply to any of them. I'll just write another paper. They can listen to it.
I'll
You can reply. But no, really, I don't want to. Then why do you have children?
Right.
I'm not sure. I don't know. There's a big block there. But again, this is something I can agree to disagree with then on those parents. Like, yeah, my children drive me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's been times where I'm like, what is happening?
I need you to go to your room and I'll go to my room and we just need a timeout for like an hour.
You do need a timeout.
Yes.
We're all going to pray right now because this is not working. I'm
going to go work out because I need to get the aggression out somehow.
The end of it comes back to the fact that we are supposed to teach our own children and raise them up. And so I put a lot of responsibility on me to make sure that is going to work out, and put every effort into it now. So hopefully they can carry it off into their life, because I don't know why you would want to send them out into a system and then undo everything that they learned, like on the bus or, in school. Mm-hmm. I still have to do some of undoing because my kids will click on a YouTube thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, do not do that. I don't know what you're going to see.
From their friends and that do go to school.
Yes.
Some of the crazy, I'm grateful that I have a teenager who talks about
all my kids talk about everything.
I love it.
Yeah.
So it's brought up some really great conversations, but it's also brought up I love that Zen said to me the other day, we were sitting down to talk about this upcoming school year. And I like to now he's 15. So now I'm going to include him in some of the discussion about the curriculum and get his opinion on certain things. So we had a talk and I was like, okay, so at this point, what are your thoughts for moving on with life? Yeah. And he said, he's like, I don't see college in my future. Now he is an intelligent child.
Oh, he's very smart.
He is very smart.
But that doesn't mean my husband makes more money than me.
He said, he didn't go to. He's like, I don't see wasting my time in college. He's like, I might take a couple of business courses here and there. He's like, I want to continue to do real estate the way our family does it. He's like, I want to continue my musical education and, do something with music, maybe own a music school.
So Ryan's been talking about the same thing.
Yeah. So he's got the idea of business and then multiple streams of income, entrepreneurship, all of that. So he's like, I would like to focus this next year on more, he wants to take, we're doing an entrepreneur class. We're doing business math, intense, business, finance, and
that's good.
All of this stuff. So the things that he's going to need to know in order to run multiple businesses on a high income level. So, and when I was talking to him and I was like, so where do you see yourself? And he's like, in 15, 20 years, he's like, I see myself still doing my music,
Making sure that my son is
making
not
sure I
being
have
crazy
money,
and
you know, like by
monitoring his
running
best friend.
things. And then he's like, I would love to, he's like, I want to be like my dad.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to work from home and I want to be able to homeschool my own kids.
So that's huge.
And do that. Like,
Yeah.
and just to hear that from him, that he sees this alternate path where, you know, he can still be providing for his family, but also there emotionally for his family.
Well,
Like,
that's the
it's
thing,
great.
is homeschooling builds that connection too,
does.
and the time to really, really connect with your kids again. Yeah. So that because they should be able to come to you and talk to you on an intimate level about everything.
Yeah. So take that, trolls. They're not going to be Unabombers because they talk to us.
Yeah, no. I'm after this episode, I'm gonna go back and like look at the Unabombers background. And then I'm gonna give you a whole bunch of evidence for that comment.
I know it's asinine, but
It's just backwards. It's crazy. I know. Ryan wants to I don't know what he's gonna do. So that's the thing. It's challenging too, because we were doing math. He did something with set notation, and he came to me. He was like, "Why am I ever gonna use this?" I actually don't think you are.
you're never going to.
Like that. That was my reply to him. But he's on a pathway to either he really wants to have like his own restaurant, but he wants to build the restaurant because he wants to go in architecture,
Mhm.
and then he wants to play in a band in the restaurant and cook the food with the French sauce that's in the restaurant. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm just hoping our kids won't. Well, they're going to end up traveling the world. Zen will make sure my son brushes his teeth.
Yes, he will. He'll make sure that they have breakfast and they brush their teeth and they go to bed on time.
Yeah.
He's like the mom of the group for sure.
I know. And
Anytime
Ryan's
they
like,
get
rock
together.
and roll.
Yeah.
I
They
love it.
balance each other.
It's
so
super funny. But if you guys might need to purchase a chicken,
you might.
future homeschoolers.
I have a little
right
one.
there.
I forgot to bring it. It's Zen's. His girlfriend gave it to him for a birthday.
Yes.
And I hate that thing, but now it's fun because I use it to wake him up.
Great idea. Let's just record it. And then every time there's a comment, you just play it for the person.
She's a genius.
Okay.
All right.
Signing off.
Signing off.